Okay, so what is time, growth, and profitability? How are they related? I made a little graph here, and we're going to talk about business. We're going to talk about, so I've been kind of philosophical for a few videos, a couple videos. Today we're going to be a little bit more concrete, talk about business specifically, and how these concepts relate. So the reason that I'm titling it the modern business cycle is because the competition in business is brutal, okay? Just brutal. And it is very hard for a business to get started and to make money, okay? Now, you might think, well, that's stupid. Why would you start a business if it doesn't make money? Well, what a lot of people don't know is that businesses like Uber, like Peloton, like Netflix, like Spotify, like Snapchat, like, what else can I think of? Zillow. None of the business that I just mentioned have turned up $1 of profit. Okay, most people don't know that. Most people think, wow, they must make so much money. I'm paying them a whopping $8 a month or $15 a month. They must make a lot of money, but they don't. And the reason for that is because you have to invest a lot into growing it more and more and more. Okay, because a lot of these businesses, if they sell one widget, one unit of whatever is it that they sell, they're not profitable, not by a long shot. But if they sell 10 million widgets or 10 million units of whatever they sell, they can be wildly profitable. So how can you get to 10 million when you sell the one, you don't make any money? Well, you do that through investment, through money, okay? Tesla, for example, is not profitable, and the stock is going through the roof, okay? Tesla right now is worth more than Ford and GM combined, okay? Just crazy, baffles you. But, so what's happening here is, so I made a graph here. The blue line here is the, let's say, the blue line is right where you break even. It's the break even line. So below here, it's like underwater, right? So it's maybe the water line. And then above here is growth or, profitability, okay? So I illustrated 3 different businesses, all right? So business 1, it starts here, and then it just goes down, and then it just kind of dies there. And then business 2 is a black line, and it goes down, and then there's an injection of money here, and it kind of goes right back up, but then it kind of goes down. There's another injection of money, and then it's kind of wavering around the break-even point, okay? And then business 3, it goes down, there's an injection of cash, and it's now growing, okay? And this is a time dimension here, okay? So, any business that you start, like I said, most people, even people who are in business don't know this, but people who are definitely not in business, they don't know. When I tell them, hey, do you know Netflix doesn't make any money? They say, are you crazy, Gabe? How could they not make any money? They have millions of subscribers. Yeah, as a matter of fact, I think Netflix has 160 million subscribers worldwide. So that's a lot, but they still invest a lot more money than they are making, which is the right thing to do, right? They have to invest in their own content. Why? Because other content providers are not as willing to license stuff to them as we've been able to see, right? And people like Disney Plus and HBO and places like that. Comcast is going to release one called Peacock later this year. Are going to want to have that relationship with their client. They don't just want to rent the content out to Netflix, not anymore. So anytime you start a business, you automatically go from break even down. And that is because the moment you get up, let's say the first day, New Year, let's say you want to start a business, you say, man, I'm going to do this. The minute you start, you are already investing, let's say, time, money, and resources into something that's not giving you anything back, or at least not right away. And you know that, everybody knows that, right? And this is something normal. This is a sacrifice, right? You go to the gym before you lose weight. You don't wait until you lose weight to go to the gym, right? Or you don't wait until you lose weight to eat better, right? You have to invest something to get something, right? And this is reality of this is probably beyond business, right? This is like the structural reality. You sacrifice something so you can get something in the future, right? In my feed right now, I said, one of the things I like to write is little pro tips. And the pro tip for today, I was reading Nietzsche on discipline this morning, and I've been thinking about it all day, and I thought, discipline is a periodic demonstration of loyalty and love to your future self, right? You're treating your future self kindly, nicely. You're not betraying your future self, right? And I think that's what discipline is. So when you start a business, you automatically go down. So that's the number one takeaway for this video is that we need money. We always need money to start a business, to start a project, okay? Always, 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 always. Some kind of capital, okay? So if you're in business and you're not looking for money all the time, you might not be in business. You might not really be in business, okay? Every business needs money. You need to be always thinking about how can I raise money? How can I raise money? How can I raise money? Okay? Because business always need money to grow. And this is the food of business. This is the tool that we use to get things done. Okay? So it's kind of like most people that have a business, they want a business that they start and it starts producing money and it's profitable. Now, I'm not saying that the businesses that I said, Tesla, Uber, Peloton, Spotify, I'm not saying they don't produce money. They produce revenue, right? But not enough. They're not profitable. They don't produce more than they invest or that they spend. Okay, so that's why they're underwater. So what most people want is they want a business that starts off and it just starts making money, is profitable, right? That's almost like having a baby. It's funny because I have a client that we work with women who have a business but also have like family responsibilities, and so she's kind of like a coach there, and I'm kind of the business guy. We're going to do some webinars, and the analogy that we thought about was the analogy of a baby, right? So it's almost like having a baby. Of course, the mom understands what this is. It's having a baby and expecting the baby to pay the rent the next month. It's not gonna happen, right? It's a long-term investment for a lot of potential, right? Because a baby can change the world, literally. I mean, this has happened, right? So it's we are willing to invest a lot of money, a lot of time, and a lot of resources into this creature because we know this is, they're going to flourish. Maybe it's 18 years, maybe hopefully it's not 40 years of investment before they pay rent. But you see what I'm saying? It's a long-term thing, okay? So if you start a business, don't be like business one and think, okay, this is going to take off at some point. Usually you're going to go down. Now, let's take a look at business number two. So business number two is what most businesses, so there are different thresholds. It's pretty hard for a business to get to 1 million. But once they get to 1 million, it's not too hard to get to 2 million or 3 million. It depends on the industry. But so I generally categorize it from 0 to 1 million, really from $100,000, revenue to 1 million in a year. That's one kind of business. And then the other kind of business is between 1 million and 5. That's another kind of business. And between 5 and 25. Right? Those are good categories. Those are usually the business that I'm involved in. Usually in the the 10 to 25 range. But sometimes we work with small. That's there's no problem because there's a lot of potential. I'm very interested as a consultant in potential. I want to ride the wave. Okay. So what happens is this is a typical. I've seen businesses of 3 million. I've seen businesses of 5 million that follow this pattern. Right? They start off. They go down, they get some money, and then they kind of break even, but they don't really get there, and they need some more injection, and they're hovering right around this line, right? So sometimes I meet people and they say, oh, Gabe, I'm making 3 million a year, or I'm making 7 million a year, and obviously they always invariably tell me the revenue. They don't tell me the profit, they tell me the revenue, which I understand what they're doing that. I mean, we all have an ego, and we all want to seem great, and that's fine. But when you actually look at the accounting, they're really like around here, right? They're barely kind of breaking even, and sometimes they're losing major amounts of money, and they don't know that if they don't raise money, they're just going to go down, and that's going to be the end of it, okay? And then there's the third kind of business that has kind of a lower peak, a lower trough, and kind of a lower. They lose, let's say, more money, or they invest more. That's another way. That's the way you should think about it. Not losing money, but investing money. I mean, if you're doing it correctly. But then they actually get to profitability and for growth, right? And that's what you want. But you always, always, always need money. My mentor and business partner and co-author of this is the pitch. This is a pitch time. Most businesses fail in the first 5 minutes. It just takes them 3 to 5 years to realize it. Which, by the way, is coming out this month. Later this month, I will be telling you guys what that is. We launched the missile today. He went to see Peter Drucker a couple of times. Well, a few times. I think 7 or 8 times live in the flesh. And one of those times he was telling me a story where somebody asked, Dr. Drucker, is there a time where you don't need money? Is there a type of business that doesn't need money? And Dr. Drucker said, Peter Drucker said, yes, the abject failure, right? The abject failure doesn't need money. But every other business needs money, because if you don't, then you're not, it's almost like having the baby and not feeding it enough. Can a baby survive with a minimum food and minimum water and minimum love and care? Well, I guess, and it really depends on the baby a little bit, but yeah, he can sort of get by. He might grow up and not be, very healthy, but he's sort of there. But that's just not good, right? You want to give it all it needs. And how much does it need? Will depend on the baby, depends on the business, depends on the potential of the business. Because the one dimension that you don't get any more of is time. So the question you should always be asking yourself is not necessarily can I get my business from here? Can I sell $100 million, right? Well, $100 million is fine, but what timeline are we looking at, right? If you give yourself 100 million years, right, then that's a different timeline, right? So you might be able to do that, but who has that? So what you want is how is it that I can get from point A to my next point B in as short time as possible? And the answer is always, 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 as far as business is concerned, money. Okay? Now, I'm not saying that a good idea, a good product, a good team, talent, all those things are important. I'm just saying, all those things being equal, what you need is money. And most of the time, businesses, they die because of lack of capital, not because they have a bad idea, although sometimes they're one and the same. But this is just a reality of business. So if you are thinking about going into business, if you have a business, and so both of those groups, and you don't think you need money, then you need to revise your mindset. Okay, I don't care what Gary Vee has to say. I don't care what any internet marketing guru has to say. All those guys are selling you on the dream. Okay, if you want to know what real businesses in real situations are doing every day, read the Wall Street Journal. I read the Wall Street Journal every day. Read The Economist. I read The Economist every week. And that's what real businesses are doing. And this is a new cycle, because the competition is so much, it's so heavy, that we need to finance a lot of low before we get out of the water. And that is just the reality of it, because the competition is so heavy that you have to, let's see, so the analogy to having a nice body or taking care of your body, it's not a good analogy on business. Why? Because businesses take place in a competitive landscape, right? But having a healthy body, if you have a healthier body, that doesn't mean that somebody else has a less healthy body. That's not what I'm saying. That's not how it works, right? You can have, they're independent, right? But in a competitive environment, if you take some market share from a market, somebody in the market has lost market share. I'm not saying necessarily that it's a zero-sum game, because it's not. Competition is actually a good thing. It keeps everybody sharp. It keeps things efficient. It keeps things moving, right? That's why bureaucracies and governments are not very good at running anything, because they're monopolies and they have no incentive to be efficient or to do a good job, and they're fed through taxes, which you have to pay. We all have to pay. And if we don't pay, we go to jail. So it's like we're forced customers, let's say, of the government. That's why you don't want the government to do a lot of this stuff, because they're not any good. But companies, it's not that they're that much better, but they are subject to competition. And if they don't do a good job, if they're not efficient, if they don't know what they're doing, then they'll go down and they'll be out of the game, and then there'll be other people. So that's why competition works. So this is how time, growth, and profitability are related. If you're in business and you're not looking for actively, how can I raise money? How can I raise money? How can I raise money? How can I get more people involved that are going to give me? And time and resources are also important. So sometimes that's all you got, right? If people say, well, Gabe, how can I start something if I don't have money? Well, I understand. It's like playing Monopoly, right? When you run out of money in Monopoly, you're out of the game. And that's not good, right? So you always need to find a way, right? But trust me, a lot more people could find more money if they just kind of use their head a little bit. Because people will find money to buy the stupidest things, like shoes and just dumb things, right? I'm not saying I have nice shoes, I like nice shoes, but what I'm saying is if I have to choose between shoes and a business, well, a business is going to provide me money to buy shoes, right? So you go what's important first. You go towards the sacrifice first. So find a way. If you're an individual, maybe it's time to, if you're not disciplined, this is not legal advice. Please consult with your own tax professional, finance professional, blah blah blah. So disclaimer. But you can find a way. When I was starting out, I sold instruments that I played, so I can get a little bit of cash, so I could invest in different things. In coaching, I had a lot of coaches. Also made a ton of mistakes. I got wrong coaches. It was bad. But then I always learned a little bit. I read as much as I could. I still do. Like all those things. All those things are investments. I'm not getting, let's say, paid right away from there. But all of that, it gets me closer to the goal. So you can do that. You can find a way. And now, if you're an actual business and you have something going on, see how you can cut costs, not for the sake of cutting costs, but for the sake of taking that money and investing it back in the business. See what you can pull, where you can make it more efficient, where you can streamline, where you can renegotiate contracts with suppliers. There's always creative ways of, it's one of the things that I get hired to do. How can we improve this? And so, if you're not doing this, if you're not finding a way to get more money in your business, because you need to continue to invest, but try to stay at least break even, right? But a lot of businesses can't. But at least survive until you get to the point of growth. If you're not doing that, then chances are your business is not growing as fast as it could. I said not only as it could, but as it should. And then you're missing out. If Uber wouldn't have spent all the money that they spent, they wouldn't have been able to scale in as many cities as they could. As a matter of fact, by the time they got to China, they were too late. And actually, Uber doesn't operate in China because they were too late. And the barrier of entry for Uber style is kind of low. But anyways, that's a different video. So this is the reason why all these companies are not profitable, haven't turned. Amazon didn't turn dollar for a long time. That's why you'll see very left-leaning newspapers say Jeff Bezos didn't pay any taxes this year either. Well, yes, he didn't pay taxes, or I'm sure he paid taxes, but Amazon didn't pay taxes because they lost so much money at the beginning. So since they lost so much money, they can push their losses to the next year. Because, by the way, they spend a lot of that money in research and development to get to the place where they are. Now they're turning some pretty nice profit, and so they're making up for it. They did the orange one, right? And I didn't mean, maybe orange is the Amazon one. So that's what you want to do. Find money, find time and resources that you can spend in your business so you can cut down the time of growth and profitability.